You don't have approach anxiety. It's not something you can catch. It's not a disease. It's simply social resistance. The reason you have a lot of social resistance at the moment is you're simply not talking to enough people. If I've not spoke to anybody for a couple of days and I come out here, the thought of day game feels crazy overwhelming to me, and I can feel like a beginner again. It's social resistance. There's no such thing as approach anxiety. Approach anxiety is not real. Just focus on the open. Just focus on the first 3 seconds. That's the best advice for overcoming that social resistance. Because oftentimes, guys are coming out here, they feel crazy overwhelmed, and they think too many steps ahead. Right. They think, oh, I need to open, I need to vibe, I need to stack. Oh, has she hooked yet? All that shit does not fucking matter. Go over to a girl, first 3 seconds, tell her she looks wonderful. Do that 5 times this coming Saturday. I'll press record then if you insist. I was briefing him about the video, and he was like, bro, we're not recording yet. I was like, I know, I'm trying to brief you.
Fucking boomer, you gotta press record.
How to overcome your approach anxiety. You stick a tripod down in public and just talk. Just expostulate. Alright, so if you want to overcome your approach anxiety so you can stop letting golden opportunities pass you by, then watch this video all the way through, because we are going to be dropping some absolute nuggets of fucking value. So if you don't know who this is Efrem. He's working with me in Warsaw as part of my 4-week in-person program, and before we started working together, you'd never approached girls before. Just the thought of going over to a strikingly beautiful girl paralyzed you with fear. And in a very short space of time, you've been able to obliterate your approach anxiety to the point that now you're just pulling the trigger without me even having to tell you. So to kick things off, can you just talk to the guys about how you've been able to overcome your approach anxiety in super fast time?
The first thing that helped me was working with a coach, because I wanted to do this on my own. I had been watching Kristian and other dating coaches, or like day game coaches, we'll say, and I'd actually ventured out on my own a handful of times in order to approach women in the daytime by myself. And sometimes I didn't even get out of my car. And every single time, I never even did a single approach. I just walked around aimlessly for a few minutes and said, I'm not going to do this. So I went home. And so the first step for me was getting in contact with somebody who could actually help me. I knew that I needed somebody in my corner. I mean, with everything that I've done in life, I've had some sort of coach, mentor, teacher to hold my hand through it. So I guess I've just accepted the fact that I'm an action taker, but I need the extra push, and that's okay. I mean, because I'm willing to actually reach out in order to get that extra push.
Yeah, I think for guys watching this, accumulating positive social momentum, right? You wouldn't go to the gym and immediately deadlift 200 kg. So you need to warm yourself up first. Let's say you're watching this, you're living in Birmingham, let's say. You're going around the bull ring and you feel very overwhelmed. Just the thought of going over to a girl, giving her a compliment, fills you with fear, okay? The best thing that you can do is spend the first 10 minutes just warming yourself up on middle-aged ladies or hashtag milkshakes, right? Find 2 to 3 milkshakes and just go over and pay them compliments. Be the reason that they smile. Be the reason they have a better day. The more positive social momentum that you can accumulate, the easier you're going to find it. Because what you boys need to understand is anxiety is not an illness, it's an emotion, right? And it's completely normal to feel that resistance. I don't really like terming it approach anxiety, because it's almost like guys are prescribing themselves with this illness. They're attaching this reason why they can't take action. You don't have approach anxiety. It's not something you can catch. It's not a disease. It's simply social resistance. And the reason you have a lot of social resistance at the moment is you're simply not talking to enough people. You're spending too much time on your own, ruminating in your own egoic self-absorption. You're playing the victim, thinking that everyone's against you. The best thing that you can do is go out there and take all of the emphasis off of yourself, find a few middle-aged ladies, make them all feel beautiful, desired and sexy, and then transfer all of that feel-good energy onto girls who you really like. And I think reps.
Well, yeah, that is the desensitization process. The rep is what makes it feel normal. Just like if you wanted to train for a marathon, you don't just go right into the marathon.
Right.
You run for multiple months on end beforehand. You train for it. So similar to this, I didn't just go into groups of 5 girls right off the bat. No, it started with like isolated girl that was like easier to approach, maybe less attractive.
Yeah.
And from there it just sprouted. Okay, now I can do that one. Let's try girls that are walking towards me. Okay, now I can stop a girl from the front. Let's try girls that have already passed me and I double back. Okay, now I can do that. Let's try girls that are in pairs. And it's a skill set like anything else, and you can build it. But an important thing he said was like the social anxiety aspect. Everybody has it. Like, you have the same feelings that I had. It's not like I'm like this superhero, like Kristian's a superhero. We were put on this earth and we never experienced these same emotions that you're experiencing when you want to go out and do your approaches. We experienced the exact same thing. We just were the ones ballsy enough to get over that by repetition, going back in for it, getting blown out and then going in again, getting blown out for the entire day and then showing up tomorrow. That's all it is.
100%. And like, for me as well, right? If I've not spoke to anybody for a couple of days and I come out here, the thought of day game feels crazy overwhelming to me, and I can feel like a beginner again. It's social resistance. There's no such thing as approach anxiety. Approach anxiety is not real. It's simply social resistance. And the way you get through it is to go through it. Reframing it as well, viewing the rep itself as a reward and flipping the script on the reason that you're doing it. So rather than coming out here to have your ego validated, come out here almost as a holistic self-improvement exercise. See every conversation that you put yourself into as an investment into your future self. Treat the first 100, right? 100 call approach conversations you have purely as batting practice. Something you mentioned as well, which I think is perfect for beginners. It's fine when you're first starting out to go for girls who are less attractive, almost just treating those girls as your warm-up, as your rite of passage, as your way into the game. Everyone does it, even if it's like you see a girl who's just standing outside a Costa Coffee. That can be your first one. You don't even have to worry about the stop. Just focus on the open. Just focus on the first 3 seconds. That's the best advice for overcoming that social resistance. Because oftentimes, guys are coming out here, they feel crazy overwhelmed, and they think too many steps ahead. They think, oh, I need to open, I need to vibe, I need to stack. Oh, has she hooked yet? All that shit does not fucking matter. Go over to a girl, first 3 seconds, tell her she looks wonderful. Do that 5 times this coming Saturday. Giving yourself permission to suck. That's something that I think, because ego can get in the way. It's like if you want to learn, let's say, a martial art, or you want to learn how to fight. It's like you go to the gym and you're almost scared of being a beginner. You're scared of falling. You're scared of failing. But as long as you're falling forwards, you're falling forwards. So when you do come out here for the very first day, for your very first session, it's your very first time, just give yourself permission to be shit. Remind yourself that no one is allergic to a compliment. Like, you have to do your best to simply take the emphasis off of yourself, see a beautiful girl, and go declare your desire to that girl. We spoke about this being a practice in overcoming resistance. Something that I've found has really helped me on my own journey is doing things that are difficult before you come out here. So stacking wins. So before I go out for a day game session, I will train like a savage at the gym. I will get a cold shower and I'll do some difficult tasks like editing a video, because then when you come out, you're operating from a place of wholeness rather than from a place of lack. A lot of guys who, they just use day game as their means for everything. They've got nothing else going on in their life, and their only source of satisfaction comes from day game. If it goes good, they feel good. If it goes shit, they capitulate. So before you even come out here and approach girls, what I would recommend that you do is stack activities that force you to put yourself through adversity. Because after I've done like a hardcore leg session, the thought of just approaching a girl feels a lot easier, because I've already proved to myself that I can overcome that resistance.
You kind of, just saying that, you kind of made me realize that those 2 days where I didn't do well, as far as like I went through like 0 for 20 both days, I ended up having a sore throat. So I missed the gym like 3-4 days in a row, and I didn't make myself breakfast. When I did take a shower, I didn't spike it cold like I usually do. So that's kind of making me think, like, interesting, because yesterday was the first day that I was feeling better. I went to the gym, cold shower, made myself breakfast, and then boom, I was instantly back into the game. So yeah, maybe that I could even take something from what you just said.
Oftentimes, day game is a mirror for the rest of your life. Like, when I'm winning at life, I win with day game. If I feel like a loser, if I feel as though I've been lazy, I've not pushed myself hard enough at the gym, that is playing on my mind when I'm coming out here. And that's why I believe day game is the ultimate self-improvement exercise because it really forces you to be the most fuckable version of you. If you've been lazy, if you've not been putting in the reps holistically, you come out here, you feel less of the guy. And I think the final thing to end on is the importance of surrounding yourself with other winners, the importance of network, actually having guys not only to push you into conversation, like that's essential for me. I think you do need guys who are there to push you, to almost call you out on the fact that you are being a massive pussy. She's just a girl, the worst she can say is no thank you, go over, go do it. I've got a friend of mine in Manchester who always pushes guys into shop approaches. A lot of guys feel resistant to going over and having conversations with girls in shops. He's just like, yo, go over, go do it. We're not leaving until you do it. You need that accountability. You need to be surrounded by savages who are ruthless with their own mindset, who want you to succeed. I think that's been key to our success together, is the importance of network, actually having people to bounce off, and also people to give you permission that it's okay to feel nervous. It's all right to have those thoughts. It's all right to have those butterflies in your belly, because to be scared and to admit that to yourself, because realistically, day game is biological suicide. We are operating from that primitive prehistoric mind. If you were to approach a girl in the caveman days and she declined your advances, it would have meant that your DNA wasn't worthy of replication. And we carry that over into the modern day.
No, but I mean, you make a good point. Like, it's okay to admit to yourself that you're scared. Like, that was probably the first step that I took, and even reaching out to him was like, I was watching the videos, like I was trying to implement this into my life. I was just scared to do it, and I couldn't admit this to my friends back home because they're just gonna call me a pussy, even though they're not gonna do it themselves. They're not gonna walk out with me and go try to approach girls with me. They're just gonna be like, oh, it has, and then when I say, all right, let's go, show me how it's done. Oh, I'm busy. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, there's no cute girls here. That's what the excuses that I would always get. So, yeah, I mean, step one, just like be okay with dropping your ego and admitting to yourself that you're scared of this shit, because it's scary. Like, I'm standing here right now on the other side of my fear, now having built like a pretty solid skill set in this space, and I'm still here to tell you that it's scary. My first approach to the day, I'm still scared, but I do it anyways.
Yeah, because as well, like a lot of us guys, like me, you, probably you, oh shit.
Probably hurts it.
Yeah, probably hurts it. I think guys who are in this space, you started off in life as a complete loser, and you're still carrying that inner child out here with you, right? When I'm making these videos in public, when I'm putting myself in front of girls, even though I've built my value, I've improved myself, I've become more fuckable, you still have those self-limiting beliefs. Like, no one's special who does this. We're all humans, we all want to be validated, we all desire love from the feminine, but the people who win at this are the ones who can simply embrace that feeling rather than trying to eradicate it. I think there are a lot of guys who they're waiting for everything to be perfect. They're waiting until they don't have that feeling anymore. It's not about getting rid of the feeling. It's appreciating that you've actually got that feeling. Like, those nerves are a sign of growth. Those butterflies in your belly are telling you that you're doing something that the majority of men are never going to do in their lives. So just a simple act of you going out and doing one approach this Saturday, one approach, find a girl, tell her she looks beautiful, you've already put yourself ahead of the majority of men who are just mental masturbators, wanking in the wind, ruminating YouTube comments, being like, oh, that transition was bad. No one gives a fuck what you think because you're not an action taker.
Yeah, I mean, if you do one approach, you're putting yourself ahead of me 4 weeks ago.
Right.
That's more than I had ever been able to do in my entire life.
The level of accountability as well. Like, the gym that I'm going to here in Warsaw is stacked with Polish powerlifters. I am the smallest person in that gym by far. The majority of them, yes, they're on steroids. However, when you step into an environment where you are the smallest or the dumbest or whatever, the poorest in the room, it gives you this sense of motivation to want to be better. I look forward to every session. There's a guy trained next to me today. He literally ripped off his entire shirt and he had like a fucking 10-pack. And I was like, bro, this is exactly what I need. He was like pushing himself to the limit, training like a savage. And even though I don't know those guys, as soon as I step foot in that gym, it imbues you with this new sense of motivation. It's like everyone else is on it here, so I need to be operating 10 out of 10, otherwise I'm gonna feel like a pussy. When I come out here, I'm gonna feel like there are guys who are better than me and they're working harder than I am. So I think to truly level up your life, you need to surround yourself with other winners, people who are further ahead than you. That means dropping your ego, which I don't know about you, for me, I can find that difficult. This is something I've only really been learning recently, how to actually put myself in the position of the student, accept that there are people out there who have got skills that I want to learn, they are better than me, and I need to learn from them. I guess that's an element of what you found coming out here, being able to actually drop your ego and learn from someone else.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been coached all my life, regardless of what I've been doing, whether it's football, whether it's getting recruited into a pyramid scheme and having somebody be like my mentor, whether it's going through a programming boot camp and having like other students that were sometimes younger than me, teaching me a really technical skill set, whether it's sales and dropping my ego, reading books and trying to apply what I'm learning. And this is important too, choosing carefully who I decide to take input from, like having this filter over my brain where it's like, okay, my dad has input on day game. I've never seen my dad approach a girl in person in my life. Therefore, his input is not going to get through to me. It's going in one ear and out the other, because whatever he has to say, okay, sure, it might be valuable in his mind, but if I can't see the application points, then there's no point in me actually listening to what he has to say. And in fact, a lot of what he had to say was like limiting stuff, like, hey, be careful. Hey, have you had any people like try to stop you from doing what you're doing? Have you had any girls or guys come up to you and say like, what the hell are you doing approaching these girls? And I'm like, no, Dad, that doesn't happen. I thought that too. Like, that's what I was afraid of. And I'm glad that I didn't let that input get into my head too much, because maybe I wouldn't have made it out here.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely curate your network, surround yourself with the right people, and learn how to filter through the bullshit. Because like we said in a previous video, people want to see you do well. They don't want to see you do better than them.
Yeah, let me try something.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was, while I'm out here, I'm still keeping in contact with my friends back home. And I had this one friend who I told everything about what I'm doing and why I'm out here. And I even sent him a little video that I had of me like talking to a girl, being in conversation. And I'm just sharing my experience with him. The first text that I get back from him was like a list of things that he would have done differently had he been in my position. He was like, hey dude, like I see that you're wearing like this outfit. I would probably wear tighter clothes. I'd probably use more expressions and be more animated in my conversation.
Right.
But I'm no coach. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. Like, you're no coach and you have done no approaches. Why in the hell would I take input from somebody who is miles behind where I am at this point, having come out here, built this skill set, put myself out there? This is a person that's living in his parents' basement, never having done anything close to this difficulty, trying to coach me up over a video that he saw. So that's what I mean by like being careful who you take input from, because if I had let that get to me, then maybe I would have been going down a different path. However, I blocked off like input from people that had no business being in this space, and I just purely listened to Kristian. And because of that, the results, I mean, they speak for themselves.
Basically, we just filmed the approach anxiety video, and then you went straight into a conversation and got your first number today. So can you just talk to us about that conversation? I think how you're actually able to use us making a video to then transfer that feel-good energy onto the girl.
Yeah, so we made like a 25-minute video prior to this.
Right.
And just like he mentioned, it felt like I got like socially warmed up. Like 25 minutes of talking into the camera almost feels like 5 or 6 approaches right there.
Right.
Because I felt as though we were already giving value. It was like I already kind of had like value steaming off of me. So I was able to just like use that momentum to just go straight into a conversation. I felt good. I felt at peace with myself. And it was just, I mean, it felt so natural because I was already socially warmed up. So it went pretty damn smooth, honestly. Like, again, the content of the conversation wasn't anything special. It's really just the approach, the confidence I had when I went up to her, the indifference I had towards whether or not she liked me. Because if she didn't, then I can walk. And it's like she can feel that off of me.
Yeah, and that's when we were saying operating from that place of wholeness rather than from that place of lack. It's if you can already stack wins before you even got to talk to girls, maybe for you can come out with a phone and just video yourself. Just make like a little video diary of how you're feeling. You're going out today, you're going to day game. Like, actually just talk to the camera for 10 minutes just to get your vocal cords firing, because oftentimes when you first come out here, the first person you speak to is the girl you want to talk to. Start off by talking to yourself. Just get those vocal cords firing, talking to a camera, maybe go out with a friend and just shoot the shit in a cafe for like 10 minutes. And then you can transfer that feel-good social energy onto the girl. It 100% makes a difference, as you've just indicated.
Yes.
We made a 25-minute video, you saw a girl, you're already warmed up, and then boom, you go straight into it. So yeah, that's where the game is won right there, boys.
Stay sexy, okay?